Imprinted. It was subjective. Again, I thought, well, I don't know what's the need for this. I mean, come on, what's the need for this? But he says, Nisha, how are you going to test this protocol? Your intention. We don't know the time, okay? And actually, I'm glad he did this because on the one hand, not only did he show that human intention on yet another lab does impact a machine, but number two, that machine goes on to do that intention. It is a repository of human intention and subtle energies. That's important. Now, I realize I'm using certain words that we have not covered, but I encourage you to go to the book because there's so much. We could have week-long conferences on this, really. So he took the imprinted device. It was sent to another lab in Minnesota, okay? So this is the point I want to make, that when we have Nisha's intention, I'm like a light bulb. Okay, it goes on, but it's all diffuse and there's destructive interference. Not that bright, but it sort of does the job. Can't do anything much out there. Doesn't really measure anything. So Nisha's is a light bulb, okay? But Tiller was like a laser. This versus this.
Focused intention.
I mean, he said, Nisha, this is a laser. And then, you know, it took me again a long time to get it. This is diffuse destructive interference. Human consciousness is capable of this.
Right.
Laser sharp. Lasers can cut steel.
Mm-hmm.
Lasers can be seen from the International Space Station and the moon. Let's get really clear about this, okay? So physically speaking, Carol, this is chaos. Mm-hmm. And I love the word you used. This is coherent.
Right.
This is coherent information 24/7 to the target, which is the water. And, you know, the laser or the device wasn't really touching the water. It was just about 6 inches apart. The protocol is in my book. You can read it and study it, but and go to psychoenergetic science. It's all laid out. And you can read it in detail. So this device, imprinted device, is sending like a laser beam information to that glass of water, sealed, of course. Mm-hmm. And this is what happened. Honestly, look at this graph. So here we are. In the beginning, as expected by thermodynamic rules, the pH of water, when you test it, it'll rapidly go down, okay? Mm-hmm. Because of the carbon dioxide in the air dissolves in water and makes it acidic. So the yellow band here is the equilibrium. Equilibrium means expected by science norms. Mm-hmm. And then the Minnesota lab, remember, he was at Stanford, this device is sent to a lab. They don't know the directive of the pH, by the way, so they're blinded to it. Mm-hmm. But they switch the device on. There's a beaker of water with the pH meter electronic. And the sensitivity of that pH meter is 0.001 pH units. Wow. There is not a litmus paper.
Right.
We're talking very fine data points. Your information has to be fine, exquisitely fine. Okay, so look at what happened within at first it took a month to 2 months, but look at what happened to the intention going up by 1 pH unit.
Wow.
I mean, when I looked at this, I said, there is no way that this can happen.
It's so precise.
Huh?
It's so precise.
It was very precise. This is just one example. He's repeated this and repeated it, and other labs did it too. The key always is this. Is the scientist coherent inside? Because when they try to replicate this, if they're like, like Nisha all over the place, well, this isn't going to work. And then you can't call it a failure.
Right.
The protocol involves the human. The protocol is Tiller himself. It's his consciousness. And that's really important because we think in consciousness studies, we put, monks and all nice people in a MRI machine. That doesn't really help us. I'm telling you. Okay. He gives us enough data to say, yes, meditation will change your frontal lobes. Okay. I suppose that's good. It's like, I'm going to lift weights and my bicep is going to be really strong. That's okay. But I still want us to look at this graph because it tells us something, that your invisible intention stored in this device is now acting like a laser beam and making changes to that target in a measurable way. It's reproducible. This is really fantastic.
And
held, by the way,
right? This held.
Sorry?
This held, this 1 pH they raised, it stayed for a couple months. It
stayed,
right?
Exactly. It stayed. The material was changed. The material was changed. And he did the same with decreasing pH. Again, it does its equilibrium thing, and then it would work. And he did it with all different kinds of water, even used Evian water, purified water, distilled water, because we thought maybe the minerals in there, they're precipitating. I mean, there are many things to consider. Remember, he's a material scientist. He really was exquisite about his materials, how he sourced them, purified, which company, how he did it. Honestly, it's all there. It's very well documented in the science papers, and they're published. So they're peer reviewed and published. So this is an example of pH reducing device, and you can see it worked even there.